case, and overall their head-to-head is very level with 2 points to each of them and one draw. So a very level score and their first ever OTB Rapid.
It's surprising, but it also makes perfect sense. They're so young that when could they have played each other in so many rapid games? But because they're often mentioned in the same sentence. When you think about the Indian stars, you have Gukesh, who's now top 10 in the world, and you have Praggnanandhaa, who finished second in the World Cup. They're in the same sentence, so you expect that they've played each other many times. But this is their first rapid game against each other, and what a game we have in front of us because they're holding nothing back.
Yeah, it's quite a fight between these two, and we see a very fighting position. Pragg is the first Indian after Anand to qualify for the candidates. It will be his first candidates in 2024. And Robin, it's early to say, but what do you think about this experience that he's going to have? Because the Indian fans have so much expectation from him.
And that's the hard part for these young players. When Ali Reza Firouzja, the Iranian-French star, he played in the last candidates. He had reached 2,800. He was number 2 in the world at some point behind Magnus. Everyone thought suddenly he's going to win the candidates. But actually, if you spoke to many players around the world, they're saying it's going to be hard for me. He doesn't have that experience. He doesn't have all those years of opening preparation. And when you are used to playing in tournaments where you're not facing the top 10 every single game, you get more opportunities. But when you're playing the stars, the people who make the candidates, are all super duper strong, there's not a single player that you can look at and say, I'm going to try to beat them. No, your opening preparation has to be through the roof. That for younger players, it's not always easy. And with these high expectations, with the media pressure, that can hurt them sometimes. But as we heard from Anand, it seems like Pragg, Gukesh, they're able to just push that aside. And I love what Praggnanandhaa said at the opening ceremony. He said, I'm the first person since Anand for right now from India, because there are other spots open. Gukesh is doing very well in the circuit because for those of you who are unaware, there's the FIDE circuit, and it's a bunch of classical terms. Take your top 5 performances throughout the year. You can play in more than 5, but it will only count your top 5. And he's performed so well throughout the year to raise his rating that he may be the second Indian player since Anand and to join the candidates tournament.
Gukesh is the closest to that fight to make it into the candidates through the circuit that you pointed out. And for Pragg, it's also going to be such a huge experience to play the candidates because it's a tournament with a whole different dynamics. It's the second place doesn't matter. The only thing that matters in the 24 candidates, the only thing that the players are fighting for is that first spot to fight in the World Championship match.
Well, you say second place doesn't matter.
Oh, yes.
but what if Ding suddenly decides that he doesn't want to play the World Championship anymore, and then second place again matters? Or they have to come up with a new system because the World Champions don't want to keep that title. But both of these two players, Praggnanandhaa, he's already in the candidates. Gukesh, I mean, he has a very good chance, but it's going to be difficult with Anish Giri and so many other players in that FIDE circuit. Just right there, neck and neck with him.
We might see this matchup again in the candidates if Gukesh makes it through, but right now they do face each other. They are sitting, facing each other for the first time in an
I've seen enough things to lose hope. Every audience still going. I am even stronger now. Evil is lurking around you, and maybe I'm mistaken. You know I'm feeling alright. Like something on my face, something in my veins. Still hurts. And I don't know what it takes. Don't know what it takes to move on. The more that I've done, the less I become. I just live forever within our souls. So do if I know, and life will go on. And then we'll become just nothing at all. Just nothing. Just nothing. Just nothing. Just nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And then we'll become just nothing at all.
Big moment for Gukesh. Will he sacrifice the knight and go for a5, or will he play it safe, getting the knight to safety, but potentially also allowing the e-pawn to step closer to e1 with the move e2? and he doesn't have that much time to decide. He's got 30 seconds on the clock.
And Gukesh, he doesn't seem fazed by the fact that he's in time trouble. He would love to secure this victory over fellow teenager and what's going to be a long-time rival in Praggnanandhaa, but I would push those A-pawns up the board. He does it.
He does it. A5 on the board, Robert. He's going for it. He's leaving his knight hanging and banking all the hopes on those 2 pawns and a queen sacrifice. We might be seeing that happen.
And I hate that a question mark is given to this move, so I think I know how to turn it off. Yeah, there we go. I got the question mark away from that move.
That's a triple exclamation mark move.
It's a move that can win you the game on the spot. I get it that apparently Black has the defense, but the question mark does not feel deserved here because if this pawn goes to A7, that's a beautiful finishing touch.
Be one of the most beautiful final positions that we've seen in the tournament, and Pragg as well. Very little time to try and counter it because White's idea is clear. No matter what you play, whether you take that knight on c4 or not, a6, queen b8 is coming. Pragg comes back to the 8th rank to reinforce the defense on b8.
But now a6, if your queen ever takes on c4, I still probably have queen takes b8 and a7. So here goes those pawns. You can't stop them.
Queen b8, a7, a big threat on the board. And it might not even be if you go queen c4. You can go e2, but you still have got that queen jumping on, taking that rook and the a-pawn advancing. So the reinforcements are not going to be enough. He jumps in with the knight attacking the b1 rook. Does he still have the option to go queen takes rook and push that a-pawn?
I think he does. And look at him.
He doesn't do it though.
He moves his rook first, and unless that's some kind of game-changing blunder, it's just a good move. Oh, still big advantage for White, and I think it's because the e-pawn, Tanya, you mentioned it, Black can cause some disarray in White's position by throwing that pawn forward.
5 seconds for Praggnanandhaa. He has to play. He makes a move, 8-6. It feels like a panicky move made with just seconds on the clock.
Yeah, he has to be panicking.
He's gonna go for it. Queen into rook. Queen takes rook is coming up, Robert, and he does it.
Yes, he could have done it a move ago, but he does it now. There are no back rank checkmates. That's the good news for Pragg, but the pawns are too strong. That rook is hanging a8 equals queen. I might not even take your rook. I can push to get a queen on that square.
What a battle this is. White has got 2 big threats. You can take the rook, jump with your a1 rook to a8, or the move that you're pointing out, just queen with the a-pawn. Praggnanandhaa in big trouble. He tries to keep the b8 square defended, but now the queen lands on a8.
So it's an extra rook for White, and if you take the queen, I get a new one, and then I'm up 2 full rooks. So you see Pragg, he brings his knight back, but if that queen just moves away from the look at this. He just says, my rook is under attack. Let's go to a4. He's keeping everything under control.
He sacrificed the queen once, he might as well do it again, but this one is easier to spot. Finally, the e-pawn gets to e2, but the e1 square is nicely guarded. Just have to watch out for checks along the diagonal, but with no piece to support and assist the queen, it feels like even White's king is safe there.
It's just a single check if the queen goes up. The only thing you have to worry about is if this queen could get all the way to a square like d1, and then suddenly Black would have chances, but that's a faraway dream. The queen slides back to a5, so Gukesh gives up his b7 pawn. What is his plan after that? This pawn e2 still does look a bit scary.
It does, and queen b7, he takes it with the right piece, also defending the d5 knight. Now watch out for threats like queen b1 at the right moment. It's something that you have to always be careful about. And Gukesh, he comes back with the queen to keep everything defended.
If he can get rid of the e2 pawn, he knows that he should win this game. And for Pragg, rook to e8 makes perfect sense. Get your rook protecting and behind that passed pawn. But it looks like White will be just in time to get all of his pieces to surround it.
But the knights are jumping, and even though he's got an extra rook, we know what happened when Vidit had the extra rook, so it's not over till we see the results on the scorecard. Rook a7, Pragg keeping the game alive. He keeps the pieces on the board. The queen steps up. Is it time for the white knights to start pursuing the black queen? He's reaching out for the e2 pawn, simply grabs it.
Why not? Give me that pawn. It was your only form of compensation. And now that Black is backtracking with his knight is very clear. A full extra rook for Gukesh. Pragg's facial expressions, they betray his emotions. Right? He is clearly upset with how this game has gone, but Gukesh still determined. He is so focused on securing the full point.
Just pure determination there by these players. But for Pragg, you can feel that shift in the energy, that shift in the body language, and Gukesh trying to trade off as many pieces as possible, and it's resignations. Gukesh is the winner in their first over the board in